Welcome back. All right, so due to the fantastic scheduling of the National Hockey League today, good thing there wasn't any other sports going on in the U.S. So I'm recording this during the Pittsburgh Buffalo game because really the review tonight would be insanely long and leave me up really late. And of course, Saturday and Sunday it's hockey all day too. So, all right, let's go ahead and start things out talking about the Detroit Red Wings and the Boston Bruins. Detroit started on time. Boston, not so much. So it was Husso versus Swayman, early press by Detroit. Heinen fires one high in a rush. There's a post for Pastrnak. It's cleared out. Shots are 4-1 for the Bruins at 4.5 minutes, although a couple of those shots got adjusted down later on. We get a power play for Detroit, and they score on it. It takes very little time. And on their second shot, Detroit has the lead. It is Comfer from Gostisbehere and Raymond at 5:12. The Wings then press for another. We get a power play for the Boston Bruins. There's some passing issues for Boston on that power play, not so crisp. Wings clear it out. They do kill it off. Husso holds on as the Bruins press. Pastrnak going to the box. No, they got the wrong guy. It was Zacha, so it was 18, not 88. Early clear by Boston. That's killed off. And then DeBrincat on a turnover. He buries it in alone at 14:58. So after the first period, it's 2-0 for Detroit. Second period, there's some dislike in the first minute. You could see Boston was frustrated. I think they knew they didn't have their game today. Detroit's forcing turnovers. We end up with a power play for the Bruins, and they score on it. It's DeBrusk from Pastrnak and Zacha at 3 minutes. Bruins press 6 minutes in. The shots are 5-4 for the Bruins, 6.5 minutes in. Kostin can't bury one in close. Pastrnak has a rush chance. That's blocked. DeBrusk has a shot blocked as they press. Boston gets a penalty. No, they don't. It was on a follow through, so that wipes out that penalty. The Wings draw a power play shortly thereafter. Raymond has a shot that's held, and then really shortly after the power play ends, Detroit gets another one. It's Fabry from Sprong and DeBrincat at 13:24, and it's on a turnover. So Boston fails to clear, and yeah, their passing today was not crisp. Bruins press with 5 minutes left. With 2 minutes left, the Bruins get a power play. That's killed off. We're going to the third period with the score 3-1 Detroit. Wings had the only shot on net 3.5 minutes into that third period. And then at 4:12, on a face-off win, Heinen makes it a one-goal game from Coyle and Lowry. But Boston can't get out of their own way. They go back to the box. It's power play for Detroit, and it takes a couple of seconds. It's in the net. Larkin from Comfer and Gostisbehere at 5:07. So it was within a goal for less than a minute. Things get punchy in a hole by Swayman. The Wings come out of that with a power play. Becomes a 5-on-3. Everything's killed off there. Goalie pull happens with 5 minutes left. Eventually, Perron hits the empty net at 18:15. Your final score is 5-2 for Detroit. They go to 10-6-3 with the win. Boston 14-2-3 with the loss. It is their second regulation loss of the season. Shots on net, 9 apiece in the first, 11 apiece in the second, 9-7 Detroit in the third. Final shots, 29-27 for the Red Wings. Power plays, Detroit 2 for 6, Boston 1 for 3. The hits, 12-11 Detroit. Husso saved 25 out of 27. Swayman saved 24 out of 28. All right, next up, the Rangers and the Flyers. So it's Shesterkin versus Hart, and the Rangers wasted no time. Mika Zibanejad, and they mentioned before the game, he feasts on the Flyers. He did today as well. He scores from Wheeler and Kreider at 45 seconds. Blake Wheeler picked it up today, and that one was wired on a 2-on-1. And then on a face-off win by the Flyers, they turned it over to Kreider. Don't do that. He scores at 1:53. So suddenly, less than 2 minutes into the game, the Rangers are up 2-0. The shots are 3-2 for the Rangers at 4.5 minutes. Things get punchy at the 4:44 mark. Goudreau then had a fight with Hathaway. Rangers have a 2-on-1 that misfires. Flyers rush. There's a power play for the Rangers. Gustafsson has a shot that's held. There's a shorthanded rush by Cates. That's defended. They do kill that off. Trocheck's denied as the Rangers press. We get a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. 3 shots on net. Lafreniere then fires one wide on a rush. Cooley gets an investigator. An investigator penalty. How dare you investigate and then fight? Instigator on a fight. I believe that was against Hathaway as well. So the Flyers have a power play with 2:41 left. That's killed off. 2 shots on net. So it's 2-0 for the Rangers. I want to see an investigator penalty just to see what that would constitute. Anyway, second period, Konechny has a net feed. That gets picked off. Kreider has a one-timer that's caught and held. We get a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. Couturier's denied from the slot. Hathaway has a net drive. That's defended. The shots are 5-2 for the Flyers at 7.5 minutes. And then at 7:41 on a rush, Zibanejad scores from Wheeler and Gustafson. So there's Wheeler again. And yeah, Zibanejad just gets to tip one in. Flyers look to respond. The Rangers draw a power play. That's killed off. Cates exits for repairs. The Flyers press with 2.5 minutes left. They would score at 17:39. It's Couturier. It's a face-off win, and it deflects in off Couturier, Sealer, and Atkinson with the assists. So suddenly it's a 3-1 game. 41.8 seconds left. The Flyers get a power play. Things get punchy at the horn. So to start the third period, the Rangers finish the kill. Shots are 3-1 for the, or 2-0, I should say, for the Flyers at 4.5 minutes. Flyers are blocking zone entries. They end up getting their 5th power play of the game. That's killed off. Cates has a rush chance. That's defended. We get another power play for the Flyers. The Rangers score shorthanded. However, the goal is offside, and then they finish the kill after that's done. Pressed by the Rangers with 3.5 minutes left. The goaltender gets pulled with 3 minutes left. Does not matter. Your final score is 3-1 for the Rangers. They go to 14-3-1 with the win. The Flyers drop to 10-9-1 with the loss. So now back-to-back losses for Philly. Shots on net, 12-7 for the Flyers in the first, 11-9 Flyers in the second, 14-3 Flyers in the third. Final shots were, let's see, I didn't actually write them down, 37-19. Well, I've got them right here. 37-19 in favor of the Philadelphia Flyers, actually. Power plays 0 for 2 for the Rangers, 0 for 6 for Philly. The hits 20-9 for the Flyers. Shesterkin saves 36 out of 37. Good start for Igor. Hart, 16 saves on 19 shots. So after allowing 2 goals on the first 3, he was good the rest of the way, but did not have goal support. All right, next up, Toronto and Chicago. This is a gimme for Toronto, and they gave it away. So it's Samsonov versus Soderblom. Early jump for the Leafs. The shots are 6-1 in their favor, 3 minutes in. We get a power play for Chicago. Reichel has a shot that's tipped wide. That's killed off. And then Robertson opens the scoring for Toronto. It's a one-timer on the rush. Domi and Giordano with the assists at 7:14. Leafs look for another, but there's a turnover, and Dickinson, who had a big game, scores from Joey Anderson at 8:03. Buries that one short side. Yeah, Samsonov probably should have had it. These things happen. Teams exchange rushes. We get a power play for the Leafs. There's an early clear. Things get pushy on a hold by Soderblom. That is killed off. 18 seconds left. The Hawks get a power play. Getting ahead of myself. Anyways, so that rolls over into the second period. It becomes 1 minute and 21 seconds of 4-on-4. Things get pushy on a hold by Samsonov. And then during the 4-on-4, Yarncroke scores from Brody and Domi at 1:17. So they are about to go to the power play, and that was killed off. Marner then fans on a slot shot, but at 3:30, the Leafs go up 3-1. It's Ryan Reeves with his first goal of the season. McCabe and Kampf with the assists. The Hawks then press at 5 minutes. Donato has a chance. That deflects out. Shots are 4-3 Toronto at 8 minutes. At 12:27, Dickinson gets another one. Goes over Samsonov's shoulder and close, and Joey Anderson with the assist again. So that makes it 3-2. Gutman has a rush that's defended. Kampf's denied. The Hawks rush the other way. It's 3-2 after 2. 14 seconds into the third period, the Leafs turn it over in the slot. Dickinson, he buries it. It's a hat-trick goal. So suddenly it's 3-3. The Leafs look to respond. The shots are 2 apiece at 4 minutes. The Leafs press at 5.5 minutes. Net feed to Foligno gets picked off. And then 2 of each go to the box as things get punchy. So box is filling up here, both teams. Hawks have a 2-on-1 that's defended with 6:25 left. There's a power play for the Hawks. That's killed off. Kachuk then had a wraparound that saved. They press, and late, the momentum was to the Hawks. So, yes, Toronto had a great first period, but the rest of the way, I thought the Hawks played well. So, into the overtime we go. And at that point, the Leafs had already lost. You're not supposed to go into overtime against Chicago. So, the Hawks control early. Jones has a shot that's saved. The Leafs turn it over. Or the Leafs take over, I should say. Matthews has a net drive turned aside. Bedard had a shot that was saved. Matthews has a one-timer that's held, and then at 4.5 minutes, so 30 seconds before a shootout, Korchinski scores post and in, and Bedard with the assist. So your final score is 4-3 in overtime for Chicago. They go to 6-12 with the win. Toronto drops to 10-5-3. This one hurts. We'll see how they bounce back in their next game. So shots on net, 15-6 Toronto in the first, 9 apiece in the second, 13-9 Chicago in the third, 6-4 Chicago in the overtime. Very exciting overtime. Final shots, 37-34 Toronto. Power plays, the Leafs 0 for 2. Chicago 0 for 3. The hits, 18-8 for Chicago. Samsonov saves 30 out of 34. Soderblom saved 34 out of 37. Good start for him, and a good game for Chicago. If you take them lightly, they will beat you. All right, Columbus and New Jersey. New Jersey is officially in trouble. And Merzlikins officially had the best game he's had all season. Both these things can be true. So it's Elvis versus Schmid in this one. The shots are 5-1 Blue Jackets, 5 minutes into this. Blocker save on line A, good flow, few whistles early on. The Devils get stuck at one shot for a while. And Jenner would score from Goudreau at 10:04. So he buries that one in close on a rush. And this is 15 out of 18 games now where New Jersey's allowed the first goal. So I talked about that in the Devils video a couple days ago. It's still a problem. So Holtz would score from Palat at 13:15. Shortly after that, Columbus gets a 4-minute power play. New Jersey kills it off. They did well. But in the final minute, they shot themselves in the foot. On a breakaway, Robinson scores from Danforth and Gudbranson at 19:23. You can't allow that at home. It's 2-1 Columbus after one. Second period, the Devils press at 3 minutes. Marino has a shot that's held. Miller was then denied by Elvis. Shots are 5-3 New Jersey at 6 minutes. Columbus presses with 9 minutes left. Goodbranson has a chance that's held. There was a post for Luke Hughes. It's cleared out. Power play for the Devils. Back-to-back clears by Columbus. They do kill that off. McLeod has a slot shot. That saved. Hamilton has a blast that's kicked aside. Stays 2-1 after 2. Third period. Early press by the Devils. The shots are 4-0 New Jersey, 3 minutes in. Too many Columbus Blue Jackets on the ice. The Devils get a power play out of that. Palat's denied. They cycle. Bratt has a shot. That's blocked. The fans call another during the power play, and they tell the ref he sucks. So that was killed off. The Jackets clear. The Devils press at 6 minutes. 7.5 minutes in, the Devils have 14 shots. Columbus has 1. So the Devils were all over Columbus in that third period. Howell has a rush chance. That's blocked. Goudreau's then denied when he was in alone on a breakaway. There's a post for Jack Hughes from the high slot. Otherwise, this would have gone overtime. 6:45 left. Columbus with a power play. That's killed off. Goalie pull happens with 2.5 minutes left. The Devils call a timeout with 47.6 seconds left. Whatever was discussed, doesn't matter. In the end, the score is 2-1 for Columbus. So they get those 2 goals in the first and they ride it out. They go to 6-11-4 with the win. New Jersey 8-9-1 with the loss. Shots on net 11-6 Columbus in the first, 13-8 New Jersey in the second. 22-10 for New Jersey in the third. Final shots 41-29 for the Devils. Power plays 0-3 for Columbus, 0-2 for New Jersey. Hits 22-18 for the Devils. Merzlikins saves 40 out of 41. Schmid saved 27 out of 29. And now I need to change boards. All right, so things got bonkers in Nashville, or in St. Louis via Nashville, the Nashville Predators as it is. So it's Lankinen versus Hofer. Don't get attached to the goaltenders for St. Louis that start games, apparently. Good early back and forth. The shots are 4-1 Nashville at 3 minutes. The Blues press at 5.5 minutes, but Nashville opens the scoring. It's Forsberg from Lauzon and Nyquist at 6:57, and then at 7:25, they had to review it to see if the puck went in. It did. It's Trennan from Sissons and McDonough. So suddenly on back-to-back shots, Nashville's got a 2-0 lead, and it takes 28 seconds to take the fans out of this one. Get a power play for the Blues. That's killed off. Shots are 10-8 St. Louis with 8 minutes left. Sod has a net drive that's blocked, and then at 13:53, Luke Evangelista gets a goal. He scores from Sherwood and Carrier. 16:32, the Blues get one back. It's a one-timer in close. Buchnevich from Scandella and Thomas. But after the first period, the score's 3-1 Nashville. Second period, early press by Nashville. Eventually, Stastny would score from Evangelista and Sherwood at 2:45. And so that ends the night for Hofer. In goes Binnington. I guess that ends the day for Hofer. But either way, Binnington's in the net. We get a power play for Nashville. There's an early clear by the Blues and then another, but becomes a minute and 6 seconds of 5-on-3. You can't do that. 5-on-3 Nashville scores. It's O'Reilly from Forsberg and Barry at 4:46. The Blues do technically kill off the 5-on-4, but 2 seconds after, Evangelista scores the second of the game. Tomasino and Carrier with the assists at 6 minutes. Preds go back to the power play. That's killed off. And then Thomas at 10:17, right after it ends, scores from Buchnevich and Sod on a rush opportunity. So makes it 6-2. Fans are kind of into it, but Forsberg gets one from Cole Smith at 17:29. 2:03 left. Preds get a power play. That's killed off. We're going to the third period with the score 7-2. Blues get a power play. That's killed off. They go back to the power play. They score on that one. It's Jake Neighbors from Krug and Cairo at 5:23. Preds get a power play. It's killed off at 12:38. Sherwood adds one just to get the no mercy magnet back. With 3:54 left, the Blues go to another power play. That was killed off as well. And it rolls out the game at 8-3 for Nashville. They go to 9-10. They've won 4 in a row. St. Louis 10-8-1. This is a tough loss on home ice. Shots on net 19-14 St. Louis in the first. 13-8 for Nashville in the second. 12-8 St. Louis in the third. They do outshoot Nashville 39-35. Power plays, Nashville 1 for 5. St. Louis 1 for 4. The hits 14-10 St. Louis. Lankinen saves 36 out of 39. Hofer saved 11 out of 15. And then Binnington saved 16 out of 20. I don't think it's the goalies. I think St. Louis fans are going to jump in on the comments and say, the defense from last year's back, we don't want that defense. We want the good defense we've had for a large portion of this season. All right, that being said, moving along, Oilers and Caps. So I'm wearing Oilers because according to my spreadsheet, I haven't worn Oilers for a review where it's a multi-game review. And I mean, hey, I wore them for the preview. It worked out all right. So it's Skinner versus Lindgren, and when it's a record like the Oilers have, I'm kind of like, I don't know, but it feels like they're due for one. So early jump for Edmonton. The shots on net are 3-2 in their favor. 6 minutes in. Wilson, Kentberry won it close. Lindgren sharp again. The Caps press with 8.5 minutes left. Wilson flattens Fogle, but at 14-10, Kane buries his own rebound during a good press by the Oilers. That's from Draisaitl and Desharnais. Nugent Hopkins then has a near miss from the slot, and then he doesn't miss the next opportunity. He bats it right out of the air. Nice goal. Nugent Hopkins from McDavid and Hyman at 15-24 as McDavid had a big day today. Oilers had 16 shots with 3 minutes left. Ovechkin was getting more and more frustrated. I think it's a speed thing. I think it's because he can't do what he was able to do a few years ago. I think defensemen are catching him. He's turning pucks over where he used to wire him. And so at the horn, he snapped. He got a penalty. I honestly thought with that cross-check to the face, it was worth more than 2 minutes. I thought he was fortunate it was only 2 minutes. But we end up with 29 seconds of 4-on-4 during that second period, and then the Caps have the power play. Wilson has a shot that's blocked. Everything's killed off there. Things get punchy in a hold by Skinner. The Oilers get a power play. 7 seconds later, it becomes a 5-on-3, and the Oilers score on the 5-on-3. It's Bouchard from McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at 3:44. Then at 4:48, during the 5-on-4, the Oilers score again. It's Draisaitl from McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So big days for R&H as well as McDavid, and that makes it 4-0. The Oilers press at 8 minutes. McDavid has a rush chance. That's saved. Hyman had a net drive. That was caught and held. We get a power play for the Caps. The Oilers clear it. They clear it out again. They do kill that off. The Caps power play is not good. So the Caps go back to the power play. That was killed off as well. 2:09 left. The Oilers go to the power play. They score on theirs. It's Draisaitl again from Hyman and McDavid at 18:37. So there's Connor McDavid with his 4th assist of the day. He roofs it with Lindgren down. So that makes it 5-0 after 2. Third period, shots are 3-0 for the Caps at 2.5 minutes. They end up getting a power play. Shorthanded Fogle to McLeod opportunity. Near miss there. It's killed off. The crowd is loud with the booing at this point. The shots, though, were 7-2 for Washington with 9.5 minutes left. We get another power play for the Capitals. The Oilers kill that off as well. The Capitals are now 0 for their last 30. So never would have seen that with Ovechkin playing at his best. And your final score is 5-0. So the Oilers 6-12-1 on the season with the win. The Capitals 10-5-2. So they still have a good record. They just have to make sure this isn't a new trend. Shots on net 21-6 Edmonton in the first, 11-9 Washington in the second, 8-5 Washington in the third. Final shots 35-25 for the Oilers. Power plays 3 for 4 for Edmonton, 0 for 5 for Washington. Huge part of the reason they won today. Hits 21-12 Washington. Skinner, another reason they won today. Saved all 25 shots he saw. I think it's his 3rd career shutout. Lindgren, 30 saves on 35 shots. So no mercy. And you have the Tony the Tiger Magnet because Skinner was great. All right, moving along. LA and Anaheim. California teams hate each other. Today was just further proof of this. So it's Talbot versus Gibson. The shots are 3 apiece at 4 minutes. I'd like to thank Sportsnet for the overlapping coverage. So I missed the first little while of this game because we had to see the final few seconds of Boston losing against Detroit. I do not understand the broadcasting schedules. 2.5 hours is not enough time in between games, but ITNT. All right, so power play for the Ducks. Back-to-back clears by the Kings. It's killed off, 1 shot. The Ducks press after, and then we get a power play for the Kings, and they score. So Fiala scores from Kopitar and Doughty at 10:25. He kind of catches Gibson leaning the wrong way. and buries it into the net that he can see. Kings go back to the power play. They score again. It's a good cycle. Kaliev buries it. Spence and Moore with the assists at 12:26. So tough for Anaheim at home. It's now 2-0 LA. And a lot of Kings fans in attendance because LA and Anaheim are pretty close to one another. Although it still takes about 10 hours to drive from one city to the other. It's baffling. Kings press for another. There's a near miss for Lewis. Kaliev gets denied. The Ducks press in the final minutes, but it's 2-0 LA after one. Second period. At 1:17, Quentin Byfield gets one from Gavrikov and Kempe, and then at 2:56 they score again. It's Fiala from Deno and Moore. This is where Greg Cronin calls a timeout to basically yell at his team. I mean, it helps. They didn't allow a lot more, but they didn't really come back either. Things get punchy in the corner at 4:37, and a bunch of guys go to the box. They gave 5 minutes to Vetrano. They review it. They drop it to 2 minutes. 8 players in the box, so no power play. Just 4 guys each end up in the box. Basically, if you're on the ice, you're in the box, except for one guy for each team. They're kind of like, hey, what's up? Not much. Well, how about you? All right, so the Ducks press at 8.5 minutes. Carlson has a shot that's held. There's a near miss for Vetrano as the Ducks press. And at 12:42, the Ducks do get on the board. It's Radko Gudas from Vetrano and Strome. Then too many Ducks on the ice. That was the second time they'd taken that penalty today. Kings with the power play there. That's killed off. The Ducks press in the final minute, same as they did in the first, and Gudas hits a post. He almost had 2 goals today. So after 2 periods, it's 4-1 for LA, and I'd already written the records up top because I was like, yeah, there's no way LA is allowing 4 against Anaheim from here. So third period, Killorn has a net feed. That's cleared. Eklund and Gudas have a bit of a wrestle in front of the net. And then Kopitar, during the 4-on-4 that resulted from that, scores into an open net. Kempe and Doughty with the assists at 3:21. So it's 5-1. Ducks look to answer. Silverberg with a wraparound. That's held. The shots are actually 7-2 Anaheim, 7.5 minutes in. Carrick tips one wide from close. The Ducks draw a power play, and they score on it. At 11:24, it's Killorn. Finally his first goal. He gets that from McTavish and Terry. Grunstrom nearly adds one for the LA Kings, and then the Ducks press again in the final minute. So I had the same note. The Ducks at least were good in the final minute for all 3 periods. So there's that. But LA wins this one 5-2. LA is 12-3-3. The Ducks 9-11 now. So it's a tough record for the Ducks. It does feel like they're back to struggling. Shots on net 13-11 LA in the first, 13-8 LA in the second, 12-6 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 32-31 for the Kings. Power plays, the Kings 2 for 3, Anaheim 1 for 2. Hits 23-17 LA. Talbot 29 saves on 31 shots. Gibson 27 saves on 32 shots. This is what I've said for years though. When teams rely on comeback victories, eventually the comebacks sort of run dry. And then you have to switch things up and not fall behind in games. And for the Ducks, they're a young team. They're figuring it out. We'll see if they can turn it around. All right, last game. Montreal and San Jose, because, you know, this game had to go to a shootout because it's in San Jose. It's obviously not a 7:30 start, but it's the last game on this board, so hey, why not? So it's Primo versus Blackwood. They had a long ceremony before the game, too, for the radio announcer and all that. Early jump for the Sharks. The shots are 3-0 for them at 2 minutes. Next 5 shots end up going to the Habs. I think it ended up being 7 in a row that went to the Habs. 8 minutes left. There were still 3 shots for San Jose, so it was like they had that good start to the game. Went, we'll pace ourselves. There's a near miss for Caulfield as the Habs press. 3:31 left. There's a power play for the Sharks. It's killed off. The Sharks press after. Pretty strong second half of the period for San Jose after a rough first half. It's scoreless, though, after one. Second period. Shots are 2-1 for the Sharks at 2.5 minutes. The Habs press at 4 minutes. Gallagher's denied in close, and then Hoffman. It was sloppy defense by the Habs that set this up. Hoffman scores from Eklund and Hurdle at 5:06. Ullinen then has a backhander. That's held. Hoffman nearly adds another. We get a power play for the Sharks. They score on it. It is Eklund from Addison and Hurdle at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Takes 4 seconds for that one to go in. So suddenly it's 2-0 San Jose. Shots are 9-7 for the Sharks with 5 minutes left. Habs press are kept to the outside until at 18:02 Kovacevic scores from Struble and Caulfield. I believe that's Struble's first NHL point. Kudos to him for that. And if it's not, kudos to him for getting on the board today. So 2-1 San Jose after 2. Third period. 3:25 in on their second shot. Caulfield finally gets that 6th goal. Slavkovsky with the assist. So those are guys you want to see on the scoreboard if you're Montreal. McDonald has a shot deflect out. The shots are 4-3 San Jose, 6 minutes in. Dvorak fires one high from the slot. We get a power play for the Habs. That's killed off. Near miss by Zetterlund, but we're going to overtime. In the overtime, Caulfield's denied on a break. There's a glove save on Granlund. Gooley fires one high. The Caps control. There were opportunities, but we were going to a shootout. In the shootout, Ulanen scores the winner at round 6. I thought the shootout was going to go to like 80. But at any rate, your final score is 3-2. Montreal evens the record at 9-9-2. San Jose drops to 3-15-2. That's 8 points in 20 games. They're on pace for 32 points. Anyways, shots on net, 12-9 San Jose in the first, 11-9 San Jose in the second, 7-4 San Jose in the third, and 3-2 San Jose in the overtime. Final shots, 33-24 for San Jose. Power plays 0-2 for Montreal, 1-2 for San Jose. The hits 12-8 for the Sharks. Primo saves 31 out of 33. Blackwood 22 saves on 24 shots. And I really think that the Habs with Primo and Montembeault, they have a pretty good tandem there. Might be time to look at maybe seeing if there's a market for Jake Allen. I'm just saying. Let me know as a Habs fan how you feel about that idea in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.